Question Time from the Edo Diaspora, reaching out to all Edos across the diaspora, Italy, Belgium, Ireland, and the USA, hosted by yours truly, Lace My Man. In the best interest of Edo State, welcome to Question Time from the Edo Diaspora. Wherever you are in the diaspora, we'll bring it to you on Question Time. These are active members of Vote, professionals with experience in Edo State politics. We have a common interest, so it's time for that conversation in the best interest of Edo State. Today on Question Time, we put the question to Mr. Charles Omorodion.
So as you find yourself in a passenger, need someone like a passenger, treat them all like a passenger. No, we say you're a passenger. So find yourself in a passenger, treat someone like a passenger, treat them all like a passenger. No, we say you're a passenger.
Welcome to Question Time from the Edo Diaspora, a program sponsored by Voice of the Edos to communicate concerns about Edo State governance from the Edo Diaspora. We do this by taking questions from members of Vote, Voice of the Edos, and broadcasting those questions to the Edo State leaders back home. And today, I'm sitting with a member of Voice of the Edos, Vote. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Charles Omorodion.
My name is Charles Omorodion. I'm from Ogba in Oredo local government of Edo State. I have been living in this country for quite some time. I'm also a member of Vote, an active member of Vote, and I'm quite happy to be involved in this question time.
Are you a member of other Edo unions?
Oh yes, I am the president of Edo National Associations of UK. It's an umbrella organization for all Edo associations. I'm also president of Edo Global Organization here in the UK. Until recently, I was the president of Benin Union that represents the Benin people specific in this country.
Very nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
The 2016 governorship election is the subject of most interest for the Edo communities worldwide. Now, from your perspective, why is the 2016 election so crucial to Edo State going forward?
The election is crucial because Oshomole has done his 8 years term, meaning that he cannot vie for another year. And so we're having a fresh person coming in who wants to contest for the same seat. And we also have the opposition party, which is a PDP candidate, and trying to flex their muscle and show that they are also considered for the job. So it's quite crucial in that sense.
Oshomole is from APC.
He's from APC, and it's All Progressive Congress.
How well is his performance, and where were we before Oshomole came? How would you describe Edo State?
Well, Oshomole has done very well, to be quite honest. In terms of infrastructural development, he's done quite well.
I agree.
The number of roads have been refurbished. The number of landmarks, including Ring Road, Airport Road, 5 junctions, specifically in Benin, you can see visible signs of what he's done. He's done well.
2016, we need continuity or we need a new direction?
It's a bit of both. Continuity with the good things that he's done, and we also need a new direction in the sense that the state cannot remain stand still. The state, in terms of development, will always have to evolve. And in that evolutionary process, if new ideas are coming on board to build on the good thing that he's achieved, that is a welcome development.
Does any tribe have a mandate to put forward a governor and say, this is our governor this time?
From what we have been told, the two main parties, which is the PDP and APC, have zoned the governorship to Edo South. There's some sort of gentleman agreement among these parties that given that the incumbent governor is from Edo North, Oshomole, and before him, Osumbo was from Edo Central, and Ambrosale himself, the son from Edo Central. The parties, for some reasons, decided that it is the turn of Edo South to produce the next governor. So by default, the governor is likely to come from Edo South.
Is it a concern at this stage that it has to be a Benin man looking that, because there are non-Benin men fighting for the candidacy?
Under normal circumstances, based on our experiences from the diaspora, the tribe is not necessarily the best yardstick to decide who becomes the governor of a state. We would have preferred that the governor of the state is based on credibility, intelligence, ability to contribute rather than tribe per se. But like I said, the parties at home have decided this is what they're going to do. But from our point of view, watching the way things are done in UK, for example, it doesn't really matter whether the Prime Minister is coming from Scotland, or is coming from English region, or is coming from Wales, or is coming from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Provided the candidate that have been put forward have got the requisite experience, the qualifications, and the ability to be able to perform for the generality of the population.
Of Edo State.
Yeah.
Do you know of all the candidates presently running for the position?
I know a few of them from top of my head, if not all. We have from PDP, for example, we have Pastor Osage Izeyem, who's a serious contender. We have Matthew Uduekiven is another contender. We also have Senator Ozamere, who is also putting his heart in. And the three contenders are those ones. And then you have, there's another gentleman, I can't quite remember his name now, but who is also a serious contender.
So we have just two parties. We have
two parties from PDP. We have those contenders. Then if you go to APC, you have somebody like Godwin Obaseki. You have the present Deputy Governor Odribu, who is also contesting. And you have Pedro Obaseki, who is in the race. You have Kenetima Suagbon, the rice man, who is also there. Yes. Major Charles is also there. That's another one. You have Osumbo recently said he's going to contest under APC. So the place is quite crowded as we speak.
In terms of the primaries, when is the date for the primaries?
To the best of our knowledge, the primaries are likely to be between March and April. The specific date has not been fixed yet.
Are we having? Do you know if we're having an open primaries or we're having a closed?
Well, each of the parties at the moment are still negotiating behind the scene. There seems to be some confusion with APC, for example, with between the deputy governor, who is seriously interested in contesting, and Godwin Obaseki. What we've heard is that the governors tend to favor Godwin Obaseki, rather Godwin Obaseki becomes the flag bearer. And the other members of the party, including Ogie, who is now the Commissioner for Works, who is also contesting, they all are kind of challenging the idea of anointing one particular candidate. They all want to try their luck and see what the outcome would be.
What is your expectancy from the new government, the person coming in?
I think whoever is coming in has got new serious challenge ahead, because the people are now exposed to the fact that development is possible in Edo State. Oshomole, for all he could be credited for, is the fact that he has been able to demonstrate that with the resources at his disposal, things can be done in Edo State. So whoever is coming in needs to up their game. You know, they need to be able to demonstrate to the vast majority of Edo people that they are not only prepared and ready to pursue developmental program, they also want to surpass whatever it is that Oshomole has done, because he has raised the bar to a level.
We cannot blame that solely down to the government. What responsibility of the voters have we failed ourselves in past elections?
I think the problem, from the way we see it, is that the voters fail to recognize the power that they have by given the opportunity to be able to express their mandate.
To use their vote.
To use their vote. Very powerful. You know, they've been enfranchised to the point that they can exercise their vote, they can choose who governs them.
Yes.
You know, and that is quite significant. But what they've instead done, not all of them, the majority of them have done, is that they tend to allow the politicians to come in close to the election, give them bag of rice, give them little things to buy their conscience, which is wrong. And that in itself means that they are not fully exercising their franchise, the powers they have. Because somebody can come in, you know, like what the saying goes, give a man a fish, you feed him for one day.
Yes.
But teach him how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. But that's what is wrong with our system. But that requires a high degree of education. The voters need to know that in a democratic dispensation such as we face, the ballot is very important. They need to choose the candidate that they feel will best represent their interests.
Serve their interests.
That's it. Or the candidate that they feel will deliver for the vast majority of the population, rather than just accepting bag of rice, bag of gari, then you then cast your vote.
Short-term goal and long-term damage.
Of course.
For 2016, you would like the people of Edo State, the ones who are eligible to vote, to not sell their votes for bags of rice and for oil, because this is our future.
Very, very important.
Behind the scenes, it's UK Nigerian entertainment. Actors, models, artists, producers, directors, dancers. Watch behind the scenes.
Hi, my name is Contenders, and you're watching Behind the Scenes.
You have the green light to go into UK Nigerian entertainment. Let Behind the Scenes guide.
People who argue up on Facebook say those sort of things like, oh, I'm a designer, I work for this modeling agency, and stuff like that is literally just to lure you in. Until you start researching, you then realize, okay, people like this don't actually exist.
The freshest in UK Nollywood, the hottest in UK Afrobeat.
They call me Como Lomo, and you're watching Behind the Scene on Son of a Soul TV. Keep it locked, don't change that dial.
Behind the scenes, we drop it like it's hot.
See guys, on Behind the Scenes we bring you real music, producing real music here from a superstar. You're gonna know him as IO Beats.
Like Tyson Beckford and people like that, really bringing out the true roots of Africa and, you know, all complexions of all nations of everyone. So I think it's a great thing.
Watch Behind the Scenes. Become part of the action. Behind the Scenes.
This year, the Fact Book published their figures that the diaspora, US and Europe, sent $9.4 billion into Nigeria for the period of 2014 to 2015. Why is it that the diaspora cannot vote in normal elections?
Well, these are constitutional issues. As we speak, our constitution does not provide us the power to be able to exercise our vote. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've been fighting this particular cause. In the last regime, this matter was discussed at the National Assembly level to be able to ensure that the Nigerian diaspora can exercise their vote just like the Israelis would do and other advanced nations would do.
Yes.
What is required is just the will to give Nigerian diaspora the opportunity to be able to participate in electing their leaders like everyone else is doing. We are hoping that under the current government, these issues will be brought back again and revisited, and the Nigerian diaspora will be given the opportunity to vote. Like you rightly said, that figure suggests that we are funding the government or perhaps our people back home to a very huge
sum.
Of course. So we should have a say in terms of who governs our country,
our state.
And in fact, I would probably think that Nigerian diaspora vote would be quite significant in the sense that we would choose rightly the candidate that we feel best serves the interest of the nation.
It's a non-biased vote.
Of course, it is. Whereas people at home, to some extent, not every one of them, some people I would say, might accept bag of rice or bag of gari and all the rest of it in order to cast their vote for a particular candidate. But the Nigerian diaspora, having seen the way democracy works in other parts of the world, are more likely to vote the right candidate that they feel has the best manifesto, the best policies, the best programs that will impact the lives of Nigerians at home.
We come back to Voice of the Edos for a minute. How is Voice of the Edos different from other Edo unions? Or globally, there's a lot of Edo unions, but Voice of the Edos, it has an edge to it.
Indeed. Other unions, the majority of them are formed as a social, communal union. In other words, most of their objectives are based on social objectives. They're there to serve the interests of their members, they support their members in terms of bets, in terms of ceremonies, in terms of debt. Those are some of the things they do. It is more a social platform where people meet on periodic basis. They
support one another.
There's friendship, there's comradeship. Because they've left home, it gives them a kind of network where they can still meet and socialize.
Support system.
That's it, yeah. But the Voice of the Edo has got different slant traits that differentiates it quite profoundly from other Edo unions. The Voice of Edo has got some cardinal principles. It's a pressure group. That means that it's got the capacity to be able to influence the way government works at home in terms of policy formulation, policy development, and policy implementation. It is a representative organization in the sense that it is able to liaise with ordinary voters at home, liaise with the citizens at home, and become a bridge between the citizens and government. In other words, it is also acting as a pressure group. For example, they could take on a particular issues that they feel that government is not performing to standard, and take that issues to government, not necessarily in a confrontational way, but in a way to say to government, look, our people want this sort of development. So in that sense, we become an advocacy group. Advocacy for development, advocacy for new things coming into society, and also it's a networking group as well. Networking in the sense that there are a number of people in the diaspora who wants to engage the political system at home. Because they're further away from the field, they are not able to key into the system. So the Voice of the Edo avail those people that opportunity to be able to tap into the system, to be able to engage the political system at home, and at the same time their voice and their ideas are fed into the political system at home.
What concerns have you for the governor aspirants going into 2016 Edo State election?
Well, thank you. That is quite interesting. Edo State was created out of the defunct Bender State since 1991. To the best of my knowledge, the state is still being regarded as a civil service-led state. My first questions to the governor aspirant is that, what are you going to do to move Edo State from a civil service state to industrialized state? In other words, what are your policies and programs or manifested commitment to industrialize Edo State?
An extra income.
That's it. I think that is quite critical. Other questions I like to ask the incoming aspirant is that, if you look at the income of Edo State, about 90%, if not 95% of the income comes from federal government allocation.
Yes.
Particularly now that the oil revenue has sort of declined, this is not posing a significant challenge across the country. What are you going to do as an aspirant to diversify Edo State economy?
To bring more money
stream in. Yeah. Those are some of the things that. Another question that comes to mind is health is very critical.
Yeah.
A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. I would like to know from the aspirants.
Governorship aspirants,
yes. What are you going to do to ensure that healthcare is accessible and affordable to the common man, to the poor? That's also very critical. And above all, youth unemployment. Nigerian, Edo State in particular, is sitting on a time bomb. We have more than 45% of our teeming youth population unemployed. And these youths are well educated. We're one of the most educated group in Nigeria,
yes,
so to speak. What are you going to do to ensure that you find job for our unemployed youth,
yes,
and make them to become economically
productive
in the country? Those are some of the key things that perhaps comes to mind at the moment.
Governorship aspirants, we'll be going over to Edo State to broadcast your questions and hopefully get question time with the governorship aspirants to see how they intend to deliver on their promises.
Yeah, Nigerian government is known not to pay attention to infrastructural maintenance. One of the biggest problems we have in the country is that public buildings, public infrastructures are not maintained. But I also want to know from the aspirant, what are you going to do to ensure that you refurbish existing infrastructure while you're looking at developing new ones? Right. We need to be able to ensure that public buildings are conducive, public buildings are appealing, public buildings are maintained and serve the purpose to which they were set up to do.
How does the Edo State leader, governorship aspirant, how do they know what the people want?
Well, in this part of the world where we are,
yes,
learning from the Zambia, they're supposed to be interacting with the population.
Yes.
For example, if you're an elected MP here, you have regular sections, usually every month, where you speak to your constituencies.
Yes.
And your constituencies then tells you what it is they want you to do, yeah, or express their concern. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, those things are very rare.
Yeah.
You don't see politicians going to their constituencies after the election to say, look, I'm representing you, what do you want me to do? Or what are your concerns?
This is question time from the Edo Diaspora, and your concerns will be broadcasted to the governorship candidates for the Edo State 2016 election. Mr. Charles Amoradion, thank you very much.
Pleasure. I'm a member of Vote. You're watching Question Time from Edo Diaspora.
Question Time, reaching out to all Edos across the diaspora.
So as you find yourself in a passenger, need someone like a passenger.